quick question. How did you learn English?
Alone, obviously.
Wrong. With people.
Wait, excuse me.
Yeah, this is going to be a really long episode. Welcome, everyone, to Just Johnny and Sophie. Real conversations, real English, every day.
I am already feeling attacked, by the way.
Well, get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am so glad you are here with us right now listening, because today we are on a mission.
A very serious mission.
Exactly. We are having a structured, warm, but honestly very serious debate on what might be the ultimate language question.
The big one.
The big one. Is it better to learn English completely alone or with other people? We are going to present our cases, and you, the listener, are going to act as the ultimate judge.
And I am fully prepared for this. I have my arguments lined up. I have my logic checked, and I am entirely ready to prove why isolation is the undisputed champion of language learning.
Yeah, we will see about that, because I'm coming in hot with the exact opposite view. But you know what? Let's give you the floor first.
Thank you.
Make your case. Why in the world would anyone want to learn a language by themselves in a dark room?
Okay, first of all, it doesn't have to be a dark room, but I do appreciate the dramatic imagery.
It paints a picture.
It does. But here's my opening argument for learning alone. It basically comes down to cognitive load and full control.
Okay.
When you are by yourself, you are learning at your exact pace. There is zero pressure and, like, most importantly, zero embarrassment.
Right.
Because language processing takes a massive amount of time, right? And it happens entirely in your head. When you are sitting in front of another person trying to speak a new language, your brain is suddenly doing, like, 50 different things at once.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning your brain is trying to remember vocabulary, yes, but it is also trying to decode the other person's facial expressions.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right. It is monitoring their body language. It is managing your own social anxiety. It is wondering if your accent sounds ridiculous.
Which it probably does at first.
Exactly. And that is an enormous cognitive load. But when you are alone, that load just drops to zero.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Your brain can use 100% of its processing power on pure pattern recognition and syntax. You can repeat a single word 10 times out loud until your tongue actually figures out the physical shape of the vowels.
Just sounding crazy in your bedroom.
Exactly. But there is absolutely nobody there judging you for it. You can be totally brutally honest with yourself about what you actually don't know instead of, nodding along and pretending to understand a conversation just to save face.
Okay, I hear the theory. I do. But what does that actually look like in practice?
It looks like writing clean lines of code in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a class. You don't need a group. You just need consistency. And being alone allows for that.
Right.
I mean, think about my own life. I built the entire foundation of my English alone. I remember the exact feeling of the first time I watched a full movie in English without any subtitles.
Oh, wow. That's a big milestone.
It's massive. I was sitting on my couch completely by myself. Nobody was there to distract me or ask me what a word meant. I just let the language wash over me.
Yeah.
And suddenly, about 40 minutes in, my brain just clicked.
Yeah.
I stopped translating and started simply understanding.
I will admit that is a magical feeling. But, I mean, you didn't learn absolutely everything from movies.
No, of course not. I also listened to English audio completely alone every single day on the bus. That was my classroom.
The bus.
The bus. I would sit there with my headphones on, looking out the window,
Yeah.
and nobody around me even knew I was studying. It was my own private world and my notes.
Oh my gosh, your notes.
I have notebooks filled with private English notes, vocabulary lists, grammar structures, all written out by me for me. That solitary practice is what builds the software.
Okay.
Learning alone is like writing lines of code in a perfectly controlled environment. You have to build the software before you launch it.
See, I completely, vehemently disagree with that entire philosophy.
Naturally. Let's hear the counter-argument.
Okay, here is the problem with your coding metaphor.
Oh, it's a great metaphor.
It's flawed. Because you can write lines of code in a vacuum for 5 years. You can make it perfectly clean and elegant. You can sit on a bus with your headphones on until you memorize the dictionary.
Sounds great to me.
But the second you launch that perfectly written software to real, living, breathing users' meaning, the second a real human being walks up to you and asks you a question in English, your system is going to crash.
Okay, that is a bit dramatic.
It is the truth. Real users click the wrong buttons. They introduce bugs. In language terms, real people use heavy slang, they mumble, they have strange accents, they use sarcasm.
Sure.
Your isolated, perfectly controlled code has to adapt in real time, and it just can't do that if you've never practiced in the chaos of reality. Real English only happens in real conversations.
But the mistakes in those real conversations can be absolutely paralyzing for a beginner.
The mistakes are the whole point. Making mistakes with people teaches you so much faster than making a mistake on an app.
I don't know about that.
No, let's look at the neuroscience of it. When an app buzzes and gives you a little red X because you chose the wrong verb tense, what do?
You try again.
Right. You just click try again. You forget it in 2 seconds because there is no emotional weight to it. But the embarrassment of messing up in front of a real person, that embarrassment literally alters how your brain stores the information.
Wait, you are saying humiliation is a learning tool?
I am saying emotional tagging is a learning tool. When you mess up in a social setting, your heart rate spikes. Your body releases a tiny hit of adrenaline.
Yeah.
That adrenaline physically tags the memory in your brain. Your brain flags that moment as a social survival event.
A survival event. Wow.
Yes, it brands the correct word into your memory forever because your brain says, wow, that was uncomfortable. Let's never do that again. You cannot get that from a textbook.
That sounds incredibly stressful, though.
It's thrilling. Speaking is a physical social skill. Your brain literally processes language differently in social situations. You cannot learn tone or sarcasm or humor or cultural nuance from an app.
Well, no. Apps are mostly for vocabulary and grammar.
Exactly. You can only learn those human things by bouncing off another human. Think about the first time I made a joke in English.
Oh, I remember this.
I took a huge risk. I said the punchline, and the person I was talking to actually gave a real, genuine laugh. Not a polite pity laugh, but a real laugh. You cannot get that high from studying alone.
That is true.
Or the time I had a 3-hour conversation at a dinner party and suddenly realized I had completely forgotten I was speaking English.
Those are great moments, sure, but they require a foundation first.
They require bravery. And speaking of that adrenaline spike of embarrassment, let us not forget a conversation we had a few weeks ago about the infamous wrong text I sent.
Oh, no. We're bringing this up.
I have to. I translated something literally from my native language, sent it to a group of native English speakers, and it meant something incredibly inappropriate.
It was so bad.
I wanted to die. But guess what? I have never, ever made that vocabulary mistake again. Human connection made it stick.
Okay, we are clearly entrenched in our own experiences here.
Yeah.
I learned quietly on a bus.
Yeah.
And you learned by sending disastrous text messages.
Hey, whatever works.
But personal anecdotes aren't enough to win this debate for the listener. We need to look outward. You are talking about embarrassment making things stick and plunging into the chaos of real users, which immediately makes me think of our friend group.
Yes.
Let's analyze our mutual friends. Let's look at their wildly different learning styles and see who actually has the best real-world results.
Oh, I love this. Bring them on, because these guys are the real main characters of this debate anyway. Who is your champion for the learning alone strategy?
I present to you as my strongest evidence, Dan.
Oh, come on.
Let me finish. Look at Dan. Dan is the definition of silent success. He learned almost entirely alone, keeping his cognitive load beautifully low.
Right.
He reads absolutely everything in English, and I don't just mean young adult novels. I mean the daily news, dense philosophy books, obscure technical manuals for espresso machines from the 1980s.
He is so weird for that.
But he doesn't go to language exchanges. He doesn't do conversation groups. And yet, his English is phenomenal. He's even admitted that he thinks in English now.
Yeah, I know.
He built an entire linguistic universe in his own head, independently, completely free of social anxiety.
Okay, I am stopping you right there. You cannot use Dan. I'm speaking directly to you, the listener. Right now, Dan is Dan. Dan is not a normal human example.
He's normal-ish.
No. Dan can sit in a room in total silence for 6 hours reading a 600-page biography of a 19th century bridge builder and be perfectly, blissfully happy.
Wow.
Admit it. You know I'm right. Using Dan to prove a point about normal human behavior is cheating. His brain is wired for extreme, isolated focus. That is not a replicable strategy for 99% of the population.
Okay, look, yes. Dan has a unique capacity for isolated focus. I will admit that he is a bit of an outlier. But the method still works. The sheer volume of his input proves that the solitary foundation theory is sound.
Only if you are a literal monk. Let me introduce my champion.
Let's hear it.
If we are talking about throwing your perfectly coded software into the fire of real-world bugs, let's talk about Marcus.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Marcus, the king of chaos.
Exactly. Marcus is pure, chaotic confidence. He is the ultimate proof that you don't need a quiet room, you just need people. He wanted to learn English, so what did he do? He didn't buy a grammar book. He didn't download an app.
Definitely not.
He joined 4 different English conversation groups in the exact same month. Did he finish a single one of them? No. Exactly 0.
Sounds like Marcus.
But his confidence is absolutely unbeatable. He will walk into a room of native speakers, drop half the prepositions, mix up his past and future tenses, and absolutely dominate the conversation.
It's true, he does.
He connects with people instantly because he just throws himself into the social fire and lets the adrenaline do the work.
Okay, hold on. I have to push back on that. Marcus's confidence has absolutely nothing to do with those conversation groups. That is just Marcus.
What do you mean?
He has been like that since he was 5 years old. He could be speaking a language he literally invented that morning and he would still sound that confident. You are confusing his incredibly loud, extroverted personality with a successful language learning strategy.
That's a fair point, but you cannot deny that those groups accelerated his skills. He learned how to navigate the rhythm of English conversations because he put himself in front of people over and over again.
Sure.
He didn't wait to be perfect. He didn't care about his cognitive load. He just communicated.
Fine. He communicates, even if half the words are technically wrong. But what about Maya? You can't tell me Maya's method is an efficient way to learn.
Maya is the perfect example for my side.
Really?
Yes, Maya absolutely refuses to learn alone. She tried studying with a textbook once, and she literally told me studying alone makes me sad.
Which is hilarious.
For her, human connection is the only motivation that exists. She needs the drama, she needs the storytelling. She wants to hear gossip in English, not grammar rules. If there is no person on the other end of the language, her brain just won't release the dopamine required to retain the information. The language is dead to her without a human attached to it.
I will dryly point out to you that being sad alone is a personality trait. It is not an educational strategy.
Oh, whatever.
Relying completely on other people to entertain you while you learn is wildly inefficient. You can't just wait around for someone to deliver you juicy gossip every time you need to practice the past perfect tense.
That's a fair point, but it still works for her. It gets her practicing. Emotional connection is her fuel.
Okay. We have Dan the Silent Monk, Marcus the Chaos Engine, Maya the Drama Queen. I think we both know who the real winner is in our friend group.
Oh, definitely.
The one who actually hacked the neuroscience we are both talking about.
We do. We really do. We have to talk about Lily.
Lily. Our dear, intensely organized Lily.
The woman who found a way to put human connection and language learning into a literal color-coded spreadsheet.
She really did. She has pivot tables for irregular verbs.
It's insane.
She mapped it all out perfectly. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are for grammar and reading. Strictly alone. Doors closed. 0 cognitive load. She is building her code.
Yep.
Then Tuesdays and Thursdays are for speaking groups and social practice. High adrenaline, emotional tagging. She tests the code on live users.
Of course, she scheduled her language learning. She schedules her grocery shopping by aisle. But you have to admit, it's brilliant. She recognized that both of our arguments are neurologically necessary.
It is. She effectively neutralized our entire debate by just doing both with terrifying efficiency.
She did. But, we are not letting ourselves off the hook that easily.
Uh-oh.
We are at a standoff, and it is time for the hard questions. I am going to ask you something, and I want an honest answer. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Name one person, just one, who became completely functionally fluent only from using language apps in a quiet room, no real people, no live classes, no messy real-world conversations, just an app. I'll wait.
Dan.
Dan is Dan. We already established this. You cannot use Dan.
Okay.
You're pausing. You can't think of anyone, can you?
No. You're right. I can't.
Huh.
Because without transitioning to real people eventually, an app just leaves you suspended in a simulation. You master the controlled environment, but you never learn how to handle the bugs of reality.
Exactly.
That's a fair point. But wait, I have a challenge for you.
Go ahead.
Name one person who became functionally fluent from conversation groups alone. 0 self-study. No reading. No looking up grammar rules on their own in a quiet room. No private vocabulary review. Just showing up, relying on adrenaline, and chatting.
Oh, that's easy. It's, Marcus, but...
But he's not actually fluent, is he? He's just incredibly loud and completely unafraid of being wrong.
Exactly. He communicates, but his grammar is a disaster.
Right. So who else?
Let me think. Wait, Really, I can't. Wow. Okay. I can't name a single person who achieved real accuracy without sitting down alone to do the hard work.
That's a fair point, isn't it?
It is a totally fair point. The truth is obviously somewhere in the middle, sitting right there on Lily's color-coded spreadsheet.
But we aren't going to admit that out loud. This is a debate.
Right, right.
We have to deliver our bottom line arguments. So let me make my final pitch directly to you, the listener. Hear me out. I would argue that the foundation comes first.
Okay.
You simply have to write the code alone before you can launch it. Confidence in a chaotic, real-world conversation doesn't come from magic. It comes from having done the hard, quiet work by yourself first to lower your own cognitive load. At the end of the day, yes, you need both, but alone has to come first.
And I'm speaking directly to you now, listener. Don't listen to him.
Hey.
I would argue that speaking is the point. Everything else is just preparation. Why are you even writing the software if you aren't going to let anyone use it?
Ouch.
At the end of the day, English is a language, and languages are for connecting with people. Alone gives you the tools, but people make you use them. And using them is the whole entire thing.
Impressive. I think we laid out two very solid cases there.
We did. But before we ask for the final verdict, we need to pause the debate for a crucial segment. It's time for... Did you catch that?
Ah, yes. This is where we highlight the essential English expressions that naturally came out of our fight today. And we have three really powerful ones.
We do.
The first one is a phrase we both use to kick off our final arguments, which is, I would argue that.
Yes, I would argue that. Think about the mechanics here. We used it to introduce a strong opinion. It is so much more confident and structured than just saying, I think, or in my opinion.
Exactly. When you say I think, it sounds a bit soft, a bit subjective. It sounds like you're just tossing an idea into the room.
Right.
But when you say, I would argue that speaking matters more than grammar, or I would argue that this is the wrong approach, you are signaling to the room that you have evidence. You are ready to defend your position. It is perfect for debates, discussions at work, or any presentation where you need to sound authoritative.
The second expression is the absolute MVP of this conversation. We used it back and forth throughout the entire debate to soften our disagreements, and that's a fair point, but...
This one is pure gold for your real-world interactions. The psychology behind it is brilliant. The meaning is simple. You are acknowledging someone's argument before you completely disagree with them.
Yeah.
You are showing them that you listened and that you are being a reasonable, rational person.
It is so crucial. If someone presents an idea and you just say, no, I disagree, you trigger their defensive reflexes. They immediately stop listening to you and start thinking of a way to fight back.
Absolutely.
But if you say, that's a fair point, but I still disagree, or that's a fair point, but the evidence says otherwise, the whole temperature of the conversation drops. You validate their input, lower their defenses, and then smoothly deliver your counter-argument. You sound smart, respectful, and perfectly in control.
And our third expression is how we both wrapped up our final arguments, which is, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day. This is your ultimate wrap-up phrase. You use this when you want to cut through all the noise, all the messy details, and deliver the absolute bottom line.
Right. It means, after considering all the evidence, here's the most important conclusion, like, at the end of the day, you need to speak. Or, at the end of the day, it depends on your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
It is the perfect way to summarize a highly complex topic and leave a lasting impression on your audience.
So, here is our challenge to you, the listener. We want you to use one of these three expressions this week in a real conversation. Test the code on live users.
Do it.
I would argue that in a meeting. That's a fair point, but when you disagree with a friend. Or wrap up a complicated story with Johnny and Sophie. At the end of the day.
And once you've done that, we urgently need you to do something else. We need you to head over to our Instagram stories. The handle is @JustJohnnyAndSophie. We have a poll up right now, and we need you to vote on who won this debate.
Yes. Vote alone with the book emoji or vote with people with the two silhouettes emoji. We're going to share the results next time we talk. And we stress this. We genuinely want to know what you think because we actually disagree on this. We need you to settle the score.
Okay, before we go, we need to tease our next conversation.
Oh my goodness, yes. Next time is entirely about Lily.
Lily deleted Instagram.
She did, for 7 full days.
Lily deleted Instagram. And because she is Lily, the queen of the spreadsheet, she had a highly organized list of reasons.
Of course she did. 7 perfectly formatted items on the list.
Items 1 through 6 were perfectly logical. Things like reducing screen time, increasing productivity, embracing mindfulness, the usual stuff everyone says.
But item 7, Item 7 was the real reason, and she hid it from everyone in the friend group for 3 days.
I will say this, it is the most honest conversation we have ever had on this show. You are going to hear exactly what item 7 was. Monday. Don't miss it.
It is unmissable. And listen, one more thing before we wrap up today. I want to say this straight from the heart. If you have been listening to Just Johnny and Sophie, if any of these stories have made you laugh or helped you understand the mechanics of language or given you the courage to say just one thing in English that you couldn't say before, please hit subscribe.
We mean it.
We are a really small show. We are growing slowly and we are growing honestly.
Yeah.
Every single time one of you hits that subscribe button, it proves to us that someone out there is actually listening. It proves that Marcus's chaotic disasters matter, that Lily's crazy lists matter, that Dan's comfortable silences matter.
Yeah.
It tells us that what we do here is worth making for you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, right now, wherever you are listening or watching, just tap that subscribe or follow button. It costs you absolutely nothing. And to us, it means everything.
And I'll just add this. If you know someone who is learning English, or honestly, just someone who needs something good and real to listen to, send them this link. Just share the show with them. Because that is how we find each other. See you on Monday.
Before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Take a really hard look at your own learning habits right now. Is your strong preference for being alone or being with people actually a strategic choice based on how your brain works? Or is it just your personal comfort zone disguised as a strategy? Consider what might happen to your brain's neural pathways and your English fluency if you forced yourself to do the exact opposite of what you prefer for just 1 week. Think about it. See you next time.